Well, in the third decade of the 20th century, I was a child, and naturally, all my all I remember is that what a child can remember. I remember that we were, as I understand now, very poor. These were hard years in the Soviet Union, and food, and especially clothing, was a big problem. When I look at the children, how they are dressed nowadays, I understand that even the beggars in the street are dressed better than we were. You know, we used to have dresses turned over, the material turned over, and new dresses being made out of old. You understand? It was very rarely that we could have a new dress for the children. And I remember one of my father's pupils who was sent to Turkey to study Turkish language used to send me sweets because they were hard to find here. Well, we still had, as all children have, a good time at school. The teachers at our school were very good. And I remember my school years with pleasure. Although it was cold, the school was not heated, and in the winter we had to have our coats on. But the lessons were very good, as I remember. When the terrible purges of the 37 began, and they began even earlier, I was a small child. I did not understand what was happening because in our family and also in many families, people tried not to talk about them. I only remember that once in the street, one of my teachers, an old man who taught us history, stopped me and asked me, "Is your father, Akaki? I haven't seen him for a long time. Has he been?" And then he stopped. He didn't want to say the word arrested. You understand? He didn't want to say this word. But I understood, of course, at once. My father was not arrested, but I think that it was merely by chance that this happened, because many of the university professors, and amongst them many of those who were founders and who did very much for the Georgian scholarship and science, were arrested and they perished in the prison camps. And then when I was in the high grade school, the war began in 1941. This was a terrible time, although the Germans did not reach Georgia. But once, I remember, they dropped a bomb near us in the so-called Varaziskheri, near the Hero Square. Otherwise, we were spared the terrible things that happened in the war, but the shortages and the lack of food was also very great. Only at the end of the war did we feel more or less secure, so to say.
Okay.